and welcome to the BAHS Pulse podcast. I'm your host for today, Greg Spencer, alongside Jack Harjo. Jack, how's it going?
It's going pretty good, Mr. Spencer. How are you?
Doing great. And today we're going to talk all things show choir. We have the director of choral activity, I almost messed it up there, Justin Rosser. Justin, how's it going?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing great.
We already know
And
that now.
yeah, we do now. We're all doing great. And we have Mikylah Chavez, a senior show choir student, correct?
Correct.
Let's get rolling on here, and we are going to talk all things show choir. It's been a big year for you guys. You accomplished a lot, especially coming off these last 2 years. Like, everybody's been affected by COVID in a lot of ways, but a lot of our, competitions and arts and all those things have really been affected. Justin, let me start out with you and talk a little bit about how rewarding has this year been after what you guys went through the last couple of years?
Well, I know Mikylah will back me up on this. Last year was a struggle with wearing masks and not getting to travel and compete and see our friends from across the country that we've made over the years. It was really hard. And so getting to go places this year, and including New York, was very rewarding. The kids worked really hard, and when we went to Kansas City and to Dallas and brought home some grand championship trophies, I'm sure that felt really good too. So it was nice to get things going back in the normal way that we do things. So, yeah.
So Mikylah, touch on that as well. And, in terms of you being, what was it like to finally, as a senior, be like, all right, let's take a deep breath and let's go out and compete?
Well, yeah, because joining Tiger Rhythm my sophomore year, it was amazing. It was like all the things, all of my hard work from starting in 7th grade has built up, and it was rewarding to finally let that out and be with the big dogs, And then my junior year, it kind of just came and crashed down. It was just like, it was sad that there wasn't really like competing. We didn't get to show off all of the hard work that we still, we still came in for every morning rehearsal and worked our butts off, from the start. So it was just nice my senior year finally showing and proving to all the other show choirs out there that, we still do got it. We still have worked hard and will continue to do.
What was your kind of defining moment of the year? What was the moment that you looked out from on stage and was like, yes, finally?
It was our first performance at the PAC. It was the first time we got to show off our hard work in a while, in front of the audience, our peers, Jinx. We got to show off in front of our parents and make them proud. I know my mother loved seeing me on stage again, and I also liked the feeling that I had with my other show choir members at the time. It was amazing.
All right, so in terms of competitions, we've talked a little about, like, that's what you say some of your highlights are. What are the competitions look like for new students or, people coming to compete? Like, what does that look like?
Competitions, we go to about 3 or 4 during the year. They usually start end of January or beginning of February and go till about the mid-March. We went to California, I know my first year, Iowa. This year we went to New York City. It was really, really fun. And Joplin, Missouri, and Texas. So
Joplin, Missouri, New York. Which was your favorite? I say that as somebody from Miami, Oklahoma. So I spent a lot of time growing up in Joplin, Missouri. So
Joplin School, I like
yeah,
Joplin.
it's not a bad town. Yeah,
it's really homey though.
Yeah.
Like, they're like our neighbors. So, and I had actually met one of my best friends down there at the time, and I'm still friends
you
with
got
him
a
till this
Missouri
day,
Southern
so.
sweatshirt on right now as we speak.
Yes.
And I'm going to add to what the competitions can look like. It's a pretty intense day with anywhere from 6 or 7 schools all the way up to 13 or 14 schools with competing groups. So you meet kids from all over, depending on where you go to compete. There can be kids from multiple states at a venue, and there's just hundreds and hundreds of people that are there for the same reason, which is to perform, compete. It's pretty fun.
Let's go back a little bit. We talked about New York. What was that like, Justin? I'm assuming that was not your first time to New York City, but Mikylah, I'm imagining it was yours, maybe?
Yes, it was my first time at New York City. It was very huge. I loved walking down Times Square. I got actually my promposed on Times Square, so that was kind
That's
of
pretty
fun,
cool.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to see the Statue of Liberty on a dinner cruise ship, and we got to dance there. It was really fun. It was like our own little dance stage, while also going outside and looking at the amazing view from all of the buildings and seeing the lights. It was very scenic. So,
Justin, how did this trip come about, and how long was it in the works?
Well, because COVID decimated our year, I thought, well, I've got to excite kids to come back and be in show choir. And I said, let's go to New York. And to know that I'm giving kids an opportunity of a lifetime that will last in their memories forever was really special. And it can also be a little nerve-wracking because you want to make things just so perfect. I was worried about taking them to the Museum of Modern Art, thinking, well, are they really going to enjoy it? But it was amazing. They got to see Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh, and some Picasso paintings that they'll never get that opportunity. So that was pretty amazing. Taking them to a Broadway show was pretty great too. The Lion King was a lot of fun, and just knowing that they were worn out, but their eyes were wide open the whole time, enjoying every bit of it. That felt pretty cool.
Yeah, New York's pretty. Have you ever been to New York before, Jack?
No, I've always wanted to go though. I'm the only only person in my family who hasn't been yet.
Your younger brother has been, or he went? Yeah, with show choir. That's
choir.
right. You did tell me that. Yeah, that's New York's pretty amazing, and for most kids from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, it's going to be a little bit of a culture shock.
yes.
Did you guys get to compete there too, or were you just in kind of talk a little bit about that
Yes,
side of it?
we did. We actually did compete at the Heart of America competition. It was in our hotel that we were staying at, which is also a plus because we didn't have to wake up, as early as we usually would, at normal competitions, because the competition was literally like right downstairs
Yeah.
So it was a very it was just nice. There was like a lot of people. It was nice seeing like all these different show choirs. Like I was over here fangirling about like John Burroughs. Obviously, they're all of their different costumes and seeing them because I was in the same room as them. I was like, oh my gosh, John Burroughs.
They're really amazing.
And where are they
very
from?
Sweet. They're
Burbank,
from
California.
Burbank, yeah.
Wow. So there was probably like how many schools were represented from different states?
Mississippi, Ohio, Oklahoma, and California. This wasn't a really large competition, but I will say the groups that were there, and especially with it being so late in the season, mid-March is kind of when show choir is wrapping up, except California, it's getting started then.
Getting started.
But, everybody's been working on their show for many, many months. So they're all really super prepared and they do a nice job. So we, even though it wasn't a tremendously large competition, we were with some really amazing schools, and it was fun for the kids to get to see a California show choir. Yes. It's pretty spectacular. So watching them watch that was pretty fun.
So I was just wondering, are your competitions always like pre-planned out? Like, and I don't mean like ahead of time, like this is where we're going to see. I mean, like, is it always like we're going to New York, we're going to Texas, or are there other places you go? Like,
we've been to Minnesota, Mississippi, Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, Texas, California, New York. And I'm hoping next year, say it again. In Kansas, yeah. And I'm hoping next year in Missouri. I'm hoping next year to kind of get back to Iowa and more of the Midwest. That's kind of where the show choir world began. And then some
style.
Yeah.
Why is that?
I think it was just started by a group of people in Indiana, Ohio area. And then as it grew, some of their really talented students moved off to the South or moved out to California, and they've grown it there too. So it's just kind of this thing that's popping up everywhere. Even in Oklahoma, there's just 2 schools that kind of do what we do with show choir. The rest of them that have show choirs in the state don't.
Who's the other one?
Jinx.
Jinx.
Yeah, they're very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
And it's nice to have a friend in the area that does what we do.
They're nice and close. Like I know, like I have my peers. They're like second peers. You know what I'm saying? So like I can my brother goes to Jinx, so sometimes I can like go to Jinx and I can say hi. I meet them. I go and see them at Allstate. So.
Talking about all the travel that you guys do, I'm guessing you probably have a pretty good group of parents that are involved. Do you guys have like an official booster club, and how does that work?
We do have an official booster club, and parents that want to get involved, we have plenty of opportunities for them to serve, to get to know our board members so that maybe in years to come, they'll become board members too. All of our concert and events and the fun things that we do, we have those parents working and getting to know each other and working with the kids. It's important if we're going to travel together that, they spend time getting to know the kids so that when we're in New York, they can be like, hey, I need you to do this, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah, I think it was actually Mikylah and when we were interviewing for the video the other day, that talked about how often she would come off stage and get hugs from other parents and stuff, and how special that was.
It's a pretty family oriented group. We spend so much time together right from the beginning of school all the way through our competitive season that, I mean, I probably see these students more than they see their parents sometimes.
This is true. Yes.
So you bring the parents along with you, but isn't it true that you also bring away all your stage setup and even your band? Like, I've watched some of y'all competition, and I think my brother mentioned them. Is that true?
Oh yeah. Whenever we compete, we take the trailer crew and all of our sets and props and things, and we have the best band in the country, and they actually accompany us when we compete. So it's really nice. It's an interdepartment kind of production, and it's great to work with those kids too.
Who from our music staff is in charge of the band that you guys play with?
Dr. Pence prepares them, and she gets them in a really great position and hands them over to me, and then I conduct for all of our competitive groups for Let's Tiger Momentum at the Freshman Academy, Mystique and Rhythm here at the high school, and they're a lot of fun and super talented.
So for new students who are getting into the training, or no, sorry, for new students who are getting into show choir, what does training or like the extracurricular practices look like?
It's a tough word.
So yeah.
You want to take that?
Sorry
Into the
about
mic.
that. Yes.
Yeah, just talk a little bit about just like what is the grind like? You know, it's like anything with any sport, with the pride, whoever it is. There's a grind of practices, and what's the schedule look like for you guys?
Okay, so we have practice at 6:40 a.m. You know, every single day of the
Tiger
week.
Rhythm.
Yes, Tiger Rhythm does at 6:40 a.m. and then Tiger Mystique is at
After school till 3:30.
After school till 3:30. So, we have that, and then we'll have like little clinics. We'll have like two at the beginning of the year, and they'll go from after school till about like 9 o'clock for about a week, and then we'll have like one little last kind of cleanup clinic right before competition, like a week or two before competition. We'll get that fixed up, and that'll go for about the same time.
Yeah, sometimes we have events that happen on the weekend, like for all state competitions. It's not really show choir related, but it is choir related. So there are things that we do throughout the year other than show choir.
Yes.
But as far as the training, I mean, it's pretty rigorous. I mean, the choreography we do is done by a national level choreographer, and it takes a long time to get that clean. But I would say this, it is worth it. And I would say this to anybody that's interested. If you think you would be interested, come audition. Because we take a wide variety from students who are really talented and come at this really easy. Maybe they've taken dance or cheerleading a lot and they know how to move in choreographed ways. And we also take students who are just learning. So it's really a lot of fun, and we can take you from to where you think, oh, I may not be so great, to you're going to be awesome by the time we compete. I mean, we work on this for 4 months before we ever take it out. Mm-hmm. And vocally, you know, I have had a wide range of students come to the program, and
yes,
we're going to get you where you need to be. So if you're interested in traveling and competing and hanging out with cool people, then you should come be a part of show choir.
Believe Rosser, he can do miracles. It's amazing.
So do you all have any other specialists you work with? If you work with a choreographer and you yourself, do you guys work with anyone else that helps teach the students?
We do bring in some clinicians from time to time, national level music educators that really know what they're doing. I'll bring them in and let them work with the kids for a couple of nights a week. And we didn't get to do that this year so much.
I mean, 2020 year, we had like a couple of people, like one lady one time came and worked on our just acting for like the whole time, which actually really helped us, you know, relate to the story, like telling it. We had people help with just singing, you know, and just like narrowing down those like aspects that create show choir.
Talk a little bit about the rest of your staff. I know you have some other key full-time contributors, and talk about their roles within the department.
April Martin is our collaborative pianist, and she is the heart and soul of our program. She's such an amazing, talented person. She not only does she play, her musicality is really amazing, and she loves the kids, and the kids love her. They have a great relationship. We also have Emma Cantrell. She's the associate director, and it's crazy for me because she was a former student when I first started teaching at the high school, so it's kind of cool to come full circle with her and have her be a colleague. Heather Corbett teaches at the Freshman Academy, and she's been in the district for many, many years. And of course, we have 5 middle school directors that are awesome, and every single middle school has a show choir. So we're preparing students to be a part of these ensembles from 6th grade.
So you mentioned a little bit of acting and like getting into the persona that you're representing, but I also really wanted to ask, like, where do you guys come up with the development for that? Like, especially I watched y'all's New York performance, and there was this whole story there, and I just was really interested in like, how did y'all come up with that? Like, where was the influence and like, where y'all developed that story from?
Well, Hannah Johnson teaches at Oliver Middle School, and that's kind of her forte, is to dream up shows and plan a design. In 2020, I said, let's talk about the show. And we had actually planned to do this show last year, but we decided, since we're not going to be able to go anywhere,
COVID, yes.
we're going to save it. And, we just kept tossing around ideas. And I just said, let's just not beat around the bush. Let's just say, I don't like it, and move on. Don't spend time trying to develop something that one of us doesn't like. So we just kept throwing it back and forth, back and forth. And I said, what about something by Shakespeare? And she said, that's intriguing. And so we went down this month or two long process of talking about what part of a Shakespeare play we'd want to, bring to life in a show choir set. And then there's the aspect of picking music. And she has such a wide variety and taste in music that it's easy to pick with her. So that's how that kind of happens.
Yeah. And so like in the story, when we're, what's helping us relate to the story is what we do. Rosser has us create characters for ourselves that will help us become more related to the story that we're telling. So like I created for example, my character's name was Violet, and I just, we create a background, a whole like biography, basically just about our character to help us be more close to the story. So
give us the Cliff's Notes version of kind of the rundown of what this year's show was like in terms of the storyline, the music, especially. Let the people know that are interested. What were all the songs that you guys sang?
You want to do that? Okay, so the story, I'll talk about the storyline, you talk about the songs.
Okay.
So the storyline basically, and we took a lot of artistic liberty with this, but it was basically the garden scene from A Midsummer Night's Dream. And it's when two people who are in love are put under a spell, basically, and they fall in love with the next person they see. And so in our show, we had a love interest, and then we had half the choir divided in colors by green and purple. So they were together with their, their color, and then they went under the spell and went with the other colors. So it was this whole process of being under the spell and then coming up out of the spell saying, wait, I don't know where I am. What's going on? Who am I with? And there was this confusion time. And by the end of it, they get back with the people that they start this show with. And there's a moment of recognition. Hey, this wasn't right. This wasn't what I wanted to do. And then we overcame it together and ended in a happy way. You want to talk about the songs?
Yeah. So first of all, we had our first song, which was Mikylah. We came out as the scenic. It was supposed to be more of like a club party type of vibe, very fun and upbeat. And then
it was. Oh, by the way, it was set in 1930s New Orleans.
Yes, correct. Oh. Yeah, 1930s. So then we moved on to Tearing Me Up. Tearing Me Up was very. I don't know how to use the word for this.
This is when one of the characters did not get put under the spell, and so he's witnessing
everything happening right in front of him.
Yeah, his love interest not recognizing him, and it was tearing him up. So that was
So basically, it's like he was seeing her completely fall in love with someone else, and he's like, "What's happening? Like why is she falling in love with someone else and not me?" So that was happening, and so then it moves on to song number 3, which was Slow Train. That's when we're all like kind of like looking out and like what's happening now, like what were we doing? And then after Slow Train, we're like we're like shaking it off mid-process, shaking off that spell to go into Deja Vu.
I thought you were gonna say you went in to shake it off.
So then
that would have been 2 on the nose.
We go into Deja Vu, and Deja Vu was
Deja Vu by
Beyonce.
Okay. That's where Mikylah had her solo too.
Yeah.
Yes, I did have the solo.
Right.
Deja Vu is
It's where the people start to realize, wait a minute, I've been under the spell. Something feels familiar. Something feels odd. I'm having deja vu from before they were under the spell.
Yeah, and so like there's like different parts where Lexi throws in the choreography that kind of like helps like visualize that. So like there's like certain moves where I'll like go back to my first love entrance and then I'll go back to the one that I was under the spell, with. So
A tug of war.
It's like a tug of war type of feeling in Deja Vu. And then after Deja Vu, we have our ballad. And in the ballad is when actually, at the end of Deja Vu, Joey
was her love interest.
Joey was my love interest, and he actually taps me and helps me getting released from the spell. So now I am back in real life with him, and I'm aware what I did. So then it goes into the ballad, and that's when I.
Well, the song is called "Dancing After Death," and there's a couple of lines in it that said, are we fooling ourselves? Should we do this, or are we just wasting each other's time?
Yeah. So, in Dancing.
Should we get back together?
Yeah, it's very much we're trying to
reconcile the being under
we're
the
like
spell.
reconciling all the distress that happened from the beginning, and just trying to heal and love on each other and fix everything that was broken at the time.
And that's where we actually took some of the prose or poetry from A Midsummer Night's Dream and incorporated it into the song. That's pretty cool.
Yes. And then it goes into our closer, our sixth song. And then we had talked about basically, and remind me, we're saying, we're celebrating and everything's back to the way it was. Everybody, all the colors, it shows visualized that all the colors are back to each other's original colors.
And Remind Me says, remind me of what I've been missing. And it was you. I mean, it was your partner that you were missing. So it's pretty fun.
So are you guys already at work? I know, the Pride, when they're doing, this is the time of year when they're developing their show for nationals. Is it the same thing for you guys?
Oh, yeah. It doesn't stop.
So you said that early, concept development starts very early on, and you already, you're already started. But where does the music come along? When did you start connecting the music, and how did you come across with deciding where the music's going to align with it?
It takes a lot of listening to a lot of music, and it helps when you have someone like Hannah Johnson from Oliver Middle School, who is very well versed in a ton of music, because she has a huge library of music that she can pull from. And it's a lot of time spent with Spotify and Apple Music and YouTube, just really spending hours and hours and hours listening to music. And sometimes if it's a genre that's, specific to your show, that can become easier. But a lot of times it's just weeks and weeks and weeks of listening to music.
Mikylah, of the 6 songs you guys did this year, how many of them did you know ahead of time?
That's funny, because I only knew one, which was Deja Vu by Beyonce.
I was just curious.
Yes. She's my jam. She's like the type of music that it's the type of music that I my main lane listen to.
Was there a couple songs or a song in particular that you really, from this, that you didn't know before? Maybe you went on to discover more from that artist. Is that something that happens a lot?
I haven't, but I mean, yes, that I do sometimes. My 2020 year, I still listen to songs from that time period. But obviously, this year, there was a song, our second song, "Tearing Me Up." I would have never thought, it had a good beat to it, but it was not a song that I thought I was gonna listen to mainly. And now I still have it on repeat in my car sometimes. So
who was that? Must have not been that good.
It's just a song.
All right, Jack, you got any final questions before we get into the rapid fire section?
What are any last messages Mr. Rosser would like to give to students who might be seniors who are leaving high school and going on to bigger things that you want them to take away from this, or maybe students who are just coming in that you want them to know ahead of time so that when they're going into it, they have this in mind?
Ooh, that's a lot.
Sorry.
To my kids that are leaving.
2-part question.
I just want to say thank you for all the dedication and hard work and time and blood, sweat, and tears that we did. It was a lot of work, and
especially these last. Yeah, totally understandable.
You have a special place in my heart, and I will never forget you, and you'll never forget me. And I'm just so appreciative of your hard work, and I hope you had fun, and I hope going forward you take a love of music and singing into the rest of your life. That would make me a happy man. So there's that. To those that are coming in, buckle up. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it will last. These memories will last your entire life. And something that is really great about show choir is it is so diverse. The people that come into that room are from all walks of life and all different social groups at this school, and they're all welcome, and they all become a family unit. So if you're looking for a place to belong and a place to really grow and meet cool people, it's show choir. Because
everyone will treat you like family. Like even if you don't feel like you have a family, like, or a good family life at home, you will feel loved no matter what in show choir. And everyone, there's not a person that goes unloved in there. So.
And I'll say this, I've been here for 8 years now in Broken Arrow. And so I've been able to, and I kind of knew who you were before I came, but, I know that your program has just continued to grow and grow. And one of the things that I can vouch for is the family aspect of it. Cause we often will have 3 or 4 or 5 kids that are in show choir that also are part of the ArrowVision program. And you really are like a dad to a lot of them and the whole group. And just like your parents, you're going to have good days and bad days, and the parents are going to be hard on you. And, you may have even I may even overheard a person or two get mad at you one day. It was always, we love Mr. Rosser, and we know,
because he wants the best.
Yeah. And then they totally, any kid I've ever talked to, they totally knew that. So I think that's, one of the things that when I first came here, I was just like, man, there's so many good, especially in the fine arts elective programs. And that was, modeling, kind of trying to build what we built after what all you guys do. And, I'm just always every year, just more and more impressed by what all you guys do.
Well, thank you. And, I want to back that up and say, I know I can be tough, but like Mikylah said, it's because I want the best.
Well, it's the same. You're the coach. Right. It's no different than a coach of any sports, and that's exactly. It's a competition. It's a fine arts competition, and you got to be tough on kids sometimes. So it's totally that's part of it.
I agree.
All right, so let's finish this off with some fun rapid fire questions. And this is for both of you. We'll start with Mikylah first, and then Justin, you can jump in there. Biggest musical influence. It doesn't have to just purely be in terms of for show choir, but just in your life. Who is your favorite artist or big? You first.
Rosser.
Oh, that's nice.
No, like an artist. Like who do you love listening to?
I love listening to probably SZA.
Okay.
Wow. I really like a lot of the pop music from the 1960s. My parents brought me up on the oldies, one that was the oldies when I was a kid.
Now to these kids, like the 90s is oldies.
Right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
But I like that kind of stuff.
If you could go to one concert, if you could see one artist in concert, who would it be? You've got one chance. This is the last concert you will ever see in your entire life. Who is it? They have to be alive.
I think for me, it'd be Beyonce, because she just gives it her all in all that concert.
I've seen Beyonce. She flew right over my head.
Exactly. Like she puts every single inch of, all of her energy in that crowd. So.
A lot of costume changes.
I might have to agree, Beyonce.
Yeah.
Or
and neither one of you have seen it, so I'm the only. Yeah, there you go.
I have not.
No, but so I saw Beyonce about, I think it was right before my kids were born, so it was almost about 10 years ago, and it was in Oklahoma City, and literally, so she had a circular stage on the back end of the arena, and so it was late in the show, and she went away for a little bit to go on a costume change, and there's smoke and there's music and dancers are starting to come out, and I have this video. I'll find it. I'll try. And all of a sudden she just like ascends from the heavens, and she was like 10 feet over my head. It was pretty amazing.
Dang.
She's amazing. She's pretty cool.
All right. Let's see. Favorite restaurant in the Tulsa area. Where are you going for prom? Do you get any input on your prom
I have no idea where I'm going, but my favorite food, I don't know. See, my favorite food is seafood, and I think I'm going to go eat at either Blue Coast or Craven Crab, whichever one. But like for prom, I don't think I can do that because I'm going to get it all over my dress. So, that crab oil juice is hard to get out the dress, so I don't.
Yeah. I like Billy Ray's Barbecue, and I like Los Cabos right down the street.
Can't go wrong there.
Never had Los Cabos.
Never
What?
had Los
Never.
Cabos?
No.
It's really good.
You're missing out.
I've heard it so many times, just never gone around to it.
All right. This question's for Jack because he works at the Warren Theater. Big movies coming out. Are you going to the movie theater or staying home and watching it at home?
Oh, me personally? Oh, I'm definitely
Well,
going.
I know what your answer is. I just mean it's like
Yeah.
a shout out to you. The
Thank you.
questions for the.
I was like,
Are we going? Wait.
Yeah, well, if the next Marvel movie or something that you really want to see, are you going to make sure that you go see it in a theater? Or are you going to? And these days, a lot of them are just coming out simultaneously at home via HBO Max and different things.
I think I'm going to go see it in the
Still
movie
wanna-
theater.
yeah.
I like that movie theater experience.
It's nice to sit at home too, and be with your animals and pets and families and friends. But there's nothing like going to the movie
Exactly.
theater.
I mean,
It's
you
fun.
have that on Netflix. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like we have that kind of feel on Netflix and sitting down like right there rather than going out and go and get that homemade nice little popcorn.
Yeah, I mean, there's some movies, and we've kind of got this big divide these days because more and more things. There's so many. You got like 10 streaming networks and all these different shows. A lot of things that used to be movies 10, 20 years ago are now just really good, limited series or dramatic series. So now it's like this from firsthand. I mean, there's a lot of movies still coming out, but there's less, and it's more about the big, franchises.
They're basically oversaturating the current what we have in movies because it's the only thing that they're able to make. And even now, I mean, that's slowly fading away. Like Marvel, big time blockbusters, they're starting to do more and more originally Marvel TV shows like Daredevil and stuff on Netflix. That was one
now
thing.
they're all Disney Plus and have stars in
Exactly.
them. So it's pretty
My
crazy.
sound system at home is not as good as the theater, so I want that experience.
I actually, funny story. So, and some of this was heading this way pre-pandemic, but a lot of it's changed, with the theater shutdown. But the first thing that we did in that first shutdown, and I may or may not have used my first stimulus check to turn my garage into a home theater. So I no longer have a garage, but I do have a man cave now.
That's awesome.
All right, a couple more questions. Piggybacking off this, what is your favorite binge-worthy TV show that you've watched lately?
I mean, I'm old style, but it's not old style actually. But people might think it's a little outdated. I'm watching The Walking Dead all over again on Netflix. I just love zombie apocalypse movies. It's just there's something about them.
Mr. Rosser?
I love Stranger Things and Better Call Saul.
Oh, yeah, and that starts back this week, right?
Thanks for
Yeah,
that.
Better Call Saul's great.
I just started
Season to
Breaking
come
Bad. Isn't that supposed to be
Mhm.
connected or something?
Yes, you'll figure that eventually.
Right.
You won't really get the connection until about season 2 or 3. But
Okay.
yeah. Best vacation you've ever been on, excluding your New York trip, maybe, since we've already talked about that.
When I was in college, I got to go to London with my university, and that was pretty amazing. Culturally, everything else.
Yeah, that's one place I've always wanted to go that I haven't.
I don't usually travel besides my normal home where I was born in Arizona, but I went one time to Disney World. I went to Disney World with my cousin in Florida and I stayed at her house. It was pretty nice.
Nice. All right, let's wrap this up for today. And Justin, why don't you give us the information for Tryouts? So it's coming up. We need everybody to know what's going on. Let's hear those details.
Okay, the auditions are May 9th through the 12th, right after school till about 6 o'clock every day. They're going to be, we're going to teach you some choreography in the student union. You'll come and sing for me and the other directors. No pressure. We just want you to sing the first verse of My Country 'Tis of Thee. And applications can be picked up in the choir room. I'm going to print some out here in the next day or two to take to the student union, so you can find them there too. There's also an information sheet with everything you need to know. May 9th through the 12th, right after school till about 6 each day. Sing My Country 'Tis of Thee and wear something comfortable to dance in so that we can teach you that choreography.
Mikylah, any final thoughts on somebody that's listening to this that's on the fence about trying out?
I say do it, obviously, and it's not biased because you're literally going to have the time of your life. It's going to be hard work. Nothing is easy in life. You know, nothing comes easy in life, but it's up to you.
Whether you want to do it or not.
It's up to you
have your
whether
own
you
free
want
will.
to do it or not.
I mean, I always say you can sit around on your couch and be lame and be boring, or you can come be a part of something really amazing that's going to make memories that last for the rest of your life and meet people that you will be friends with forever.
Yeah, and that's the thing about this school. There's a lot of good opportunities for kids, and there's a lot of kids that don't take advantage of those opportunities. You know, we got 3,600 plus kids or whatever, and I would say probably less than half of them are a part of a program. And so we want to continue to encourage kids, like, realize the opportunities that you have in fine arts around this school and how much better they are than anywhere else around here in the state. You know, go be a part of something, you know, and this is a chance to be a part of something special. So that's all the time we have for this episode. We'd like to thank Justin Rosser and Mikylah Chavez for joining us, here on the BAHS Pulse podcast. I am Greg Spencer for Jack Harjo, and we will see you next time.